The Russia-Ukraine conflict shows the inaccuracy of early 21st century forecasts that tanks are obsolete in modern warfare. Both sides of the war unleashed many tanks and heavy armor vehicles on the battlefield. This conflict also shattered NATO's default view of expensive high-tech tank superiority. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine possessed one of the largest arsenals in the world with about 8,700 tanks, 11,000 armor vehicles and infantry fighting vehicles, 18,000 artillery pieces, 2,800 aircraft and helicopters. In the decades that followed, much of this arsenal was sold to other nations or smelted for steel, or worse, turned into uninterested scrap. Before 2022, Ukraine's tank force consisted mainly of upgraded variants of the T-64, including the T-64BM Bullet, which entered service in 2004, and the T-64BV, which entered service in 1984. According to estimates by the International Institute for Strategic Studies, Kyiv has about 720 T-64s in various variants in its arsenal by 2022, along with nearly 580 in storage. In addition, Ukraine also has a stockpile of about 200 T-80s and about a dozen of T-84 oblots, which have been in service since the early 2000s. T-84 oblot is the most modern tank built by Ukraine itself. In summary, the Ukrainian army before the conflict owned about 750 tanks of all kinds in service and about 500 in storage. Ukraine's military has not released figures on its losses after a year of conflict with Russia. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry regularly publishes estimates of Ukraine's losses. In a latest announcement on July 1st, the Russian Defense Ministry said that it destroyed a total of 10,430 Ukrainian tanks and armor vehicles in a year and a half of fighting. Among the destroyed Ukrainian tanks and armor vehicles included new Western-added weapons such as Leopard 2 tanks, M2A2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and other heavy weapons. In addition to the destroyed weapons, Russia also seized a significant number of armor vehicles from Ukraine after the fighting. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a statement earlier this year, said that in the June counterattack alone, the Ukrainian army lost 259 tanks and 780 armor vehicles. Most of them are aided by the West. According to Sputnik, the fact that modern Western tanks are constantly destroyed in Ukraine has also been predicted by many experts before, that any modern weapons can be destroyed on the actual battlefield. Tanks face many threats in real combat, from anti-tank missiles, artillery shells, air strikes, and even anti-tank mines. In the early days of the conflict, the West pursued a strategy of supplying Kyiv with Soviet-era tanks. NATO officials argue that this is because Ukraine has a lot of experience operating Soviet-made weapons, not because it wants to dispose its inventory. These tanks include several Bulgarian T-72M1 tanks, over 170 North Macedonian T-72 tanks, over 250 modernized T-72 tanks, and 60 Polish PT-91 Warty tanks, and 28 Slovenian M55S tanks. Gradually, as hostilities escalated, the Kiev prepared for a summer counter-offensive. NATO agreed to send Ukraine tanks and heavy armor vehicles manufactured by Germany, Great Britain, and the United States. These include modern variants of the Leopard 1, a West German tank born in the 1960s and produced since 1984. Germany, Denmark, and Netherlands sent 178 of these vehicles to Ukraine. Dozens of Leopard 2 tanks were produced during the 1980s, with many upgrades sent to Ukraine. Countries that have handed over or promised to deliver tanks to Ukraine include Canada with 8 units, Denmark 7, Finland 6, Germany 19, Netherlands 14, Norway 8, Poland 14, Portugal 3, Spain 10, and Sweden with 10 Leopard 2A5. Britain committed to deliver 14 Challenger 2s. Some of these tanks were first discovered on the Ukrainian battlefield in June. The US committed 31 M1 Abrams tanks, but these figures could not be delivered until at least autumn 2023 because they have not been produced. Before February 2022, Ukraine had more than 1,250 main battle tanks. Then they received about 480 main battle tanks from the countries of the Warsaw Pact and nearly 300 modern main battle tanks from the West. Despite this, Kiev continued to ask the West to provide them with more tanks to launch a counter-offensive against Russia.